Thank you, Emer, for that very kind introduction, way too kind, to tell you the truth, for all that you do for the cause of free and united Ireland. I'm going to talk a little bit tonight. I'm going to recognize some people, some honored guests. All of you are honored guests, and talk a little bit about what's going on in the American labor movement. I'm going to stay away from the Irish labor movement because I bet there's experts in here that know a lot more than that've forgotten more than I know. And then I'm going to talk a little bit about a united Ireland. But it is really, brothers and sisters, as a proud dual citizen of both the United States and Ireland, whose grandparents came from Glencar in County Kerry, don't hold it against me, and as an admirer of the great James Connolly, it is both an honor and a privilege to have been invited to speak to you here today. Before I begin, there are a few people I want to recognize. First, two Connolly Center staff members who were recently elected to the Belfast City Council, Léacht and Shéamas. I know they will bring, yet give them a round of applause. I know that they will bring the values and ideals of Sinn Féin that we all hold dear to their elected positions. I want to thank my good friend and brother, Harry Connolly, for all of his hard work on this event and for everything he does day in and day out for the Connolly Center, for Belfast, in a cause of a free and united Ireland. I want to recognize Kieran Quinn, who the immortal Rita O'Hare that Jerry and I dedicated the plaque or unveiled the plaque today, who is the Sinn Féin representative in the United States. I unfortunately live in the United States right now. I'm a little afraid of what might happen in next year's election, but Kieran is a dear friend and a great guy, and he's been carting us, me and my youngest daughter, Giovanna, who is with us, all over, so I want to recognize Kieran as well for all that he does. I want to recognize one of the greatest Irish patriots ever, a man who has devoted his entire life to the cause of Ireland and whose hard work, personal courage, and undying devotion to the goals of a free and united Ireland are second to none. He is my friend and my hero, the one and only Gerry Adams. Earlier today at the James Connolly Center, Gerry and I unveiled the memorial to a dear friend and a great Irish patriot himself, who passed away in March, Rita O'Hare. Like Connolly, Rita devoted her life and shed her blood on behalf of both Labour and Ireland. And now, all those who visit the Connolly Center will learn about her amazing life as well. I have to publicly say, I love and loved Rita O'Hare, and there isn't a day that goes by that I don't miss her guidance, her advice, and yes, every once in a while, telling me how the hog ate the cabbage. So, God bless Rita O'Hare. Getting to know and work with not only Rita and Gerry, but Mary Lou, Michelle, and the late Martin McGuinness has been one of the greatest honors of my life. Finally, I want to congratulate the Connolly Center itself for all it has done and is doing to keep James Connolly's spirit, legacy, and values alive and relevant in the 21st century. Over the past 4 years, the Connolly Center has more than lived up to the vision and hope of those of us who helped establish it. It is truly a living memorial that informs, inspires, and encourages all those who pass through its doors to connect the twin struggles for workers' rights and national liberation. The Connolly Center brings to life his immortal declaration that the cause of labor is the cause of Ireland, and the cause of Ireland is the cause of labor. This center stands as a beacon of hope, a memorial to our storied and legendary past, as well as a blueprint, a reminder for all of us what's at stake and what we're up against as we march into the future. So please give it up for the entire staff of the James Connolly Center. Now, brothers and sisters, let me tell you what is happening in the labor movement in the United States. From Starbucks stores to Amazon warehouses, the Hollywood studios, workers have been rising up to demand better wages, family-supporting benefits, and a voice at work. Our 300,000 proud and united Teamster brothers and sisters at the United Postal Service just won a historic new contract by standing strong and together. This is all evidence that a new generation of workers is beginning to understand the power of activism, collective bargaining, and union solidarity. The labor movement is once again on the rise throughout North America. Building trades unions, and LIUNA is one of those, are flourishing. Every month, we are increasing members. Today, my union, our union, LIUNA, is larger and more powerful than we have ever been in our 120-year history, with more than 520,000 members across North America. Let me put it in context. We were founded, we were a union that no one wanted in 1903 because we came from Europe, we are immigrant workers, we were minority workers, we were construction workers. There wasn't a union in the American labor movement that wanted anything to do with us because whether it was the color of our skin or the language that we spoke, they said, let them have their own union. There was 8,000 of us, and now there's 520,000 and counting, and we're damn proud of it. You can bank on that. But to me, just recently retired after 24 years of being president, what's more important, our members are working more hours, making more money, and building more personal wealth than they ever have before. Anybody that knows anything about the construction industry, and I assume it's the same in Ireland, we don't get paid if we're not working. So if we don't go to work, we don't get paid. We don't have paid holidays. So work hours are what's critical to the livelihood and our members' ability to live a middle-class way of life. All of this activism and growth over the past 2 years has been greatly assisted by our president and our allies in Congress. President Biden is without a doubt the most pro-worker, pro-union president in American history. And I don't say that lightly because there's been some good ones, but there is nobody that matches what Joe Biden has done for the American labor movement. He is our greatest advocate. He wants unions to thrive and to grow because he knows that the trade union movement is the single most effective anti-poverty program ever devised. Unlike too many worthless elected officials, President Biden not only isn't afraid to use the word union, he says it loudly, proudly, and often, even in front of some audiences who may not want to hear it. Joe Biden isn't just with us, Joe Biden is one of us. And I might add, he's an Irishman to boot. So, yeah, give it up for him. And he loves Ireland. When it came time to select his Secretary of Labor, he looked to the labor movement and tapped one of our own LIUNA members out of our union, the one and only Marty Walsh, who's been in Ireland on a number of occasions, the son of Irish immigrants and a longtime supporter of Irish unity. Once again, a son of this incredible island has been called upon to lead in the cause, the purpose, and the mission of working people. When many union pension funds ran into trouble through no fault of their own, Joe Biden came to the rescue with a $97 billion assistance package. While other presidents, Democrat and Republicans, helped out corporations and Wall Street, Joe Biden helped out retirees and beneficiaries and the working class. He saved the pension system in the United States of America. Joe Biden passed a $1.2 trillion infrastructure bill that has created more than a decade's worth of work for the men and women of the building trades. In fact, right now, not only in the United States, but in Canada as well, we have more work than members. I literally could put 30,000 men and women to work tomorrow morning if I could find them. That's the worker shortage that we have, and maybe experiencing here in Ireland, I'm not sure, but we're experiencing it across the globe in a whole host of places. President Biden's Inflation Recovery Act gave us the tools to make sure that green jobs it creates are good-paying, middle-class union jobs. I've been pressing in Congress for 10 years in the U.S. that green jobs not only need to green the environment, they need to put green in workers' pockets with good-paying, middle-class jobs. And as part of the $50 billion CHIPS and Science Act, he conditioned tax breaks for the construction of microchip and battery plants on the use of union labor. No union members, no tax breaks, period. Joe Biden has done more for our members and all working men and women in just 2 years than other presidents have done in 2 terms. But a lot of this could stall, or maybe even be reversed, if a crumb like Donald Trump or another far-right jackass gets elected president in 2024. That's why LIUNA has already endorsed Joe Biden's re-election. Between now and next November, we're making sure that every single laborer knows what this administration and our allies in Congress have done for them and their families, and as well as what is at stake if we lose next year's election. Joe Biden has had our backs over the past 2 years. Now let's turn for the American labor movement to have his. I am proud to say our president's commitment to the peace process is just as great as his commitment to organized labor. When that asshole Boris and his Brexit buffoons tried to impose a hard customs border between the North and the South, Joe Biden's threat of trade sanctions, supported by both Democrats and Republicans in Congress, made them think twice and obey the terms of the Good Friday Agreement. No border changes without a border vote. That border vote is long overdue. For too long, the Irish government has been complacent with the status quo, and the status quo is unacceptable. If this government won't promote, plan, and prepare for Irish unity, they need to make way for one that will. And I think we sure as hell know who that is. In the North, the DUP continues to live in the past, refuses to acknowledge the present, and stands in the way of the future. Democracy requires the acceptance of election results, even when you lose. Refusal is a form of clandestine fascism, and to me, again, excuse my French, is a bunch of bullshit. These anti-democratic forces care not about governing, but about maintaining power and tyrannical control, and are willing to destroy that which they claim to love in the process. As long as there's no government in the North, there's no self-determination for Republicans, Unionists, or anybody else. They're all being oppressed. The DUP's refusal seeks to destroy the Good Friday Agreement and ignores the will of the majority on this island that voted for it. Brothers and sisters, in spite of the DUP's evil determination to oppress everyone in the North, I'm actually optimistic, because I know that all of the stalling, foot dragging, arm crossing, and childish breath holding are merely the desperate acts of a defeated, decrepit, and dying regime. They know what we know, what the world knows, and what the generation that has grown up in the bright sunlight of the peace process knows. Nothing and no one can stop the self-determination and unification of all of Ireland's children under one flag and one nation, free from foreign rule. Partition must and will be undone. Our nation and our people must and will be reunited. The Irish Republic of which Connolly dreamed is within our reach, because our yearning for freedom and self-determination is inalienable, invincible, and immoral. It has endured through ruthless oppression, neglect, famine, war, revolution, and violence. It has been embraced not only by Ireland and her exiled children around the world, but by also all those who abhor tyranny and love liberty. Just as the American labor movement stood with you throughout the 19th and 20th centuries, just as we stood with you in 1916 and 1998, so we are ready to stand with you, support you, and fight with you to fully implement the Good Friday Agreement and to bring about a full and just peace. A century ago, occupiers from across the sea imposed a partition plan that James Connolly himself had predicted would create what he called a carnival of reaction that would destroy labor unity. Connolly was right once again. Partition tore our island asunder, leading to decades of violence and bloodshed. But since 1998, the border has been calm or calmer, and the bonds of friendship, cooperation, and partnership that have grown across it have become unbreakable. Now it is time to cement those bonds and allow we ourselves to decide the status of that border. We ourselves, and only we ourselves, have the right to choose between a hard border, a soft border, a virtual border, or no damn border at all. We ourselves, and only we ourselves, have the right to govern our ancestral homeland. We ourselves, and only we ourselves, have the right to shape our destiny. And we can best pay tribute to James Connolly by recommitting ourselves to achieving his dream of a free and united Irish Republic that protects the dignity, humanity, and liberty of all. So, my strong, proud, and united Irish brothers and sisters, let us leave this hall determined to free this great land from the meanness of austerity, from the stupidity of Brexit, and from the arbitrary whims of rulers across the sea. Let us continue to stand up. Let us continue to lift up. Let us continue to rise up and build together the strong, secure, and self-governing Irish Republic for which James Connolly laid down his life. May God bless you. May God bless James Connolly, and God bless Ireland and the United States. In our union, our motto is feel the power. And I can feel the power in this room. I can feel the power in Belfast. I can feel the power of Sinn Féin. So continue to make sure that everybody that we talk to, everybody that we communicate with, feels the power and continue to be the power and continue to use the power. Thank you for having me.